This is on the verge of torturous.
These train journeys are among the most epic and hardcore on the planet.
There's like ice picks stabbing at my stomach wall.
Taking people through the world's harshest environment.
No train has ever gone further north than this one right here.
Overcoming huge technical challenges.
Thank God the train's here. I don't know how you do this without it.
These trains are a vital link to remote communities.
People live along the tracks, so this is their only means home.
Sustaining a region's economy.
Never seen so many cucumbers in one place in my life.
And even changing the course of history.
It's because of this line that the country feels united.
These are the world's tough trains.
I'm traveling 1,300 kilometers east to west across South America. I'm on an epic train journey that takes on the Andes to reach the Pacific coast. This means I have to cross Bolivia, a country whose rail network is old and battered. Starting to have your doubts? Me too. Train travel doesn't get much tougher than this.
Bolivia is one of Latin America's most beautiful countries, but it's also one of its poorest. A landlocked country of high-altitude plains, mountains, deserts, and grasslands, the challenge for Bolivia has been to get its precious natural resources out of the country. From the 1900s, South America started to be connected by rail. Sitting at the very heart of the continent, Bolivia was pivotal to the development of these railroads, but it's an unfinished job. My journey across Bolivia starts in Brazil, near Corumba in the Pantanal wetlands area, from where I jump on the infamous death train to Santa Cruz in Bolivia.
Back here, it's much more woo!
I then travel to Sucre, from where a passenger train takes me to the highest city in the world, Potosí.
Look, come on, no hands.
Next, I hitch a lift on a freight train carrying vital minerals to Uyuni.
The moment I've been waiting for.
From here, I head north to La Paz before jumping on a train to the Chilean border.
Once again, I'm nowhere near the major city I'm trying to get to. 7 hours, rock me right to sleep, and then rock me right awake.
My final ride takes me from the oxygen-starved altitude of 4,000 meters to the port of Arica at sea level.
That one was tough.
This is my journey from the Pantanal to the Pacific. The Pantanal, extending across Brazil, Bolivia, and Paraguay, is one of the largest, most biologically diverse wetland environments on the planet.
Extensive cattle ranching started here in the Brazilian Pantanal in the mid-18th century. And today, land ranchers privately own more than 95% of the Pantanal. That's 8 million cattle. How do they keep track of them all? Yep, you got it. Branding. But this highly valuable cattle breeding area did not always belong to Brazil. It once was part of its poor neighbor, Bolivia.
When Bolivia gained independence in 1825, its territory extended all the way to the Pacific Ocean and to the most important river port in South America at Corumba, here in the Pantanal. Over the next 100 years, it lost over half of its land to neighboring countries, and with it, access to vital coastal ports.
In 1907, having lost their Pacific port to Chile, Bolivia needed transport links to the Atlantic Ocean. So they traded all this territory around the Paraguay River for the rights to use Brazil's river system for their exports.
In 1908, work began on a railroad from Sao Paulo on the Atlantic coast to Corumba, the key town on the border with Bolivia. Constructing the rail line across Brazil's major rivers proved extremely difficult. In rainy season, the rivers would flood, and it was only in 1937 that a bridge was finally built here at Porto Esperança. Trains could finally reach Corumba and the Bolivian border 60 kilometers away.
This railroad became popularly known as the Pantanal Railway, and by completion, nearly 50 years later, it had revolutionized the trade route from this remote area. It's wild, it's like a ghost town, yet you can see them working on the train and it's even moving.
It was time for Bolivia to modernize its transport network too. It needed a railway to connect to Corumba with its own interior.
By 1960, Bolivia had completed work on its own railroad, the Ferrovia Oriental, the railway to the east. Finally, goods were able to be easily transported between the agricultural town of Santa Cruz and the Brazilian border town Corumba. Right now, it's 5 o'clock in the morning.
And it's time for me to leave Brazil. Trains run along this line carrying goods and people between the river ports of Brazil and the rural heartland of Bolivia.
It was much slower than I was expecting.
There are 500,000 people a year who depend on the passenger train running on the Bolivian side, and I'm swapping to this one for the 18-hour journey to Santa Cruz. It also has the very comforting nickname, the Death Train. This train takes me 700 kilometers west through Bolivia's agricultural lowland plains to reach Santa Cruz.
I have to say, this is a really enjoyable experience. I much prefer traveling like this than in a car or a plane even, because you've got room to stand up, lots of leg room, the seats are great. There's empanadas and tamales being brought to your window. People are all chill. It's hardly the death train that I was thinking.
But chatting to train drivers shatters this illusion.
El descuido de la gente que tiene su ganado, tiene sus lugares sobre la vía, se le escapa el ganado, se le sale, lo agarramos en una curva, choca la locomotora, lo mete debajo, sube y sale la locomotora, descarrila y puede ver vuelque.
That sounds really dangerous to me, but surprisingly, it's not how the train got its nickname, the Death Train.
A esto lo llamaban el tren de la muerte porque la gente subía arriba, mucha gente se caía, o sea, no era seguro, esto era libre, no había puerta, entonces la gente se caía, ¿ves? Y mucha gente, digamos, subía mareada, tomada, entonces se caía, ¿ves? Mucha gente moría en ese sentido, digamos.
Thankfully, the Ferrocarril Oriental does seem to have improved since its days as the Death Train.
And they've even got a dining car, but back here it's much more woo! Oh, yeah! Sunset view, steak falling off the bone, if I gotta like it. Could be dangerous. $6.25, and we've been rolling all night long with a couple stops. It's interesting because the sensation does put you to sleep, but it also wakes you up. Some jolts, it's almost like having turbulence on a plane the whole time.
Apart from a bumpy night, everything seems to have gone relatively well.
Gracias. Hello. I made it, Santa Cruz. It's hard to believe that this, one of Bolivia's most populated cities, and certainly its richest, was once a desolate frontier town. It's thanks to the construction of the railway, which allowed the agricultural industry here to flourish and export its goods all the way up to Europe.
The department of Santa Cruz is now the agricultural hub of Bolivia, attracting many people to the area, including flocks of German-speaking Mennonites who fled persecution in Europe, preferring a quiet farming life in Bolivia.
It wasn't just Mennonites who saw potential in this vast swathe of land. When the price of tin collapsed, agriculture became the #1 export in all of Bolivia. And Santa Cruz became a mecca for all those poor indigenous migrants coming in from the mining towns of the West.
People moved into this area, Plan 3000, to work in the burgeoning construction industry here. Portugal Quispe Mamani is a firm advocate of their importance to the area.
Los del Plan 3000, la gente es muy valiente, muy trabajadora. Y no solamente trabaja 8 horas, trabaja 10 horas, 12 horas. Mucho, mucho
You
trabajo.
sound so excited about all this work opportunity. How was everyone received when they came here?
Poco bien, poco mal. Antes había mucha discriminación, mucha pobreza. Ahora ya tenemos colegios, tenemos escuelas, tenemos pavimentos.
People from the Western Highlands might have followed riches to Santa Cruz, but as night falls, my journey to the Pacific takes me in the opposite direction.
I've got to get to Sucre. Problem is the eastern trains and the western trains don't link up yet. So I've hired a driver to take me there. It's going to be about 14 hours. Ugh.
It's a 320-kilometer uphill drive to reach Sucre in the foothills of the Andes.
I find it mind-boggling that I'm headed towards a capital city, and yet these are the conditions. So it doesn't have a decently paved road coming in from the east at all, or a railway.
Rail travel to the Pacific coast should be simple, but this gap between the eastern and western networks is just the start of Bolivia's rail problems. The western network has some serious issues of its own.
In 1996, the government privatized the railway. This piece was sold to a Chilean company who wanted to focus on international exports. So sadly, it's been discontinued ever since.
60 kilometers outside Sucre, Tarabuco was once the first stop on this part of the Western Railway network. But these days, it has suffered a similar fate, as my guide Miguel tells me.
This is the animal market.
Animal market.
Yeah.
They're selling their animals.
There's all the time, they come with trucks, alone, they all around Tarabuco. Maybe 50 years ago, here was the old railway station from Tarabuco. Yeah, this here, the tracks all the time. You can imagine from those times today, so the people come from different products from the country. They love all the trains, and from here straight to La Paz.
So this railway is totally abandoned.
Yeah, totally abandoned.
Is that a pig?
Yep,
That's a pig. There's a pig hanging out in the old waiting room for the people.
Yeah.
When you said this was an animal market, I thought you meant people were trading the animals, but they're selling themselves. They're like, hey, anybody want bacon? Over here, over here. I got beef.
Here.
Beef, bacon, anybody?
There are plans to reuse this railway, connecting it once more to the capital city, Sucre. Known as the White City, Sucre is the country's constitutional capital and its most beautiful city. This well-preserved historic center is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But for a capital city commanding ultimate respect, Sucre itself doesn't actually have an operational train station in the city either.
Most of the rail tracks between Sucre and the next station, El Tejar, have disappeared. People around here just assume they don't see a line running. They think the track is fair game. Things go missing. But looks like some of it's been brought back. They've also protected this station with a fence and a security guard, which are all good signs, because this means they're serious about bringing this line back.
But this old steam train won't get me to Potosí, my next destination. Luckily, just 3 kilometers outside the city is the fully operational El Tejar station. This being Bolivia, its depot certainly doesn't house your average train.
And here it is, the famous bus train. I've never seen anything like this before, but it is exactly what it says it is. It's a bus and a train merged together. They've completely stripped the wheels and put in tracks. I know what you're thinking. Why not take a normal bus from Sucre to Potosí, which would only take 3 hours and be a lot more comfortable. The reason is that people live along the tracks, and where they do, there's no road access. So this is their only means home. My excuse? I'm trying to travel across the continent by train, and technically, this is a train.
Time to load up.
Hope it doesn't roll off. It's definitely diesel.
It may run on train tracks, but this train is essentially still just a bus. This journey takes me all the way to the mining town of Potosí. This is a flag stop train. It's a social service run for the people, so it picks them up and drops them off as needed.
Queso, cheese, all right.
¿Sí?
That's this. Queso. Woo! Salty goat cheese. That's really good. Thank you.
Carlos is the train's conductor and considers the passengers like a second family.
So, Carlos, where are all these people coming from? You don't see many houses here.
No, no hay puesto, no hay nada porque la gente camina mucho tiempo, camina 2 días para poder tomar el bus de muy lejos.
I've seen a lot of old people here. Surely they're not walking miles to get to the bus stop.
Sí, caminan también, caminan 2 días, a veces 3 días caminan para poder tomar esto. Hay mucha gente anciana, mucha gente ya mayor. Hay personas de 60, 90, hasta de 130 años caminan. Sí.
Woo, I guess that's the secret to staying young. And when it rains, do you guys still continue, or what do you do for that?
Cuando llueve, sí, a veces paramos, porque hay muchos derrumbes. Porque a veces nos quedamos 2, 3 días peleando, abriendo paso.
These bus trains are Bolivia's answer to some seriously tough terrain, and Carlos's job doesn't only revolve around the passengers. Maintenance of the track is vital to the safe running of the train. No one wants a train to come off the rail tracks, even if it does have a gear stick and a steering wheel. A bus not originally designed to run on tracks causes other concerns for driver Basilio.
Easy, pretty easy, or tough to drive?
Es un poco complicado, porque no es como la carretera, por la vía férrea es diferente. Es muy complicado. Hay que tener un poco de experiencia para manejar esto. El peso es de 40 pasajeros. Es un poco peligroso. Si subimos más carga, más peso, entonces en las curvas tenemos...
Very dangerous. Yeah. Well, Basilio, I've always wanted to drive a train, but now I really want to drive a bus train. Do you think I could hop in the driver's seat for a little bit and you can guide me? ¿Es posible? Para mí. Yeah? Just like a car, you're right. Okay, this is the clutch. You gotta put the clutch in. Put this in first. Here we go. We're moving. We're moving. Okay. I'm very nervous. Can we go to second gear? All right, I feel incredibly powerful right now. ¿Lo necesito manos? Oh, doggy, doggy, perro, perro, perro. Oh, no, no, no. How's everybody back there? You good? Yeah? Excelente.
Basilio takes charge once again as we finally wind our way into Potosí.
Cars have to mind how close they get to the track, because we actually will scrape sides of cars.
We made it. Potosí. Here we are, 3,905 meters above sea level. That makes it the highest city in the world. And I have to say, this was a really, really cool way to get here.
Depleted mines, outdated machinery, and inhospitable terrain have all led to Potosí becoming one of Bolivia's most impoverished cities. It does, however, remain a rich source of silver, lead, copper, and zinc, and mining these materials is still keeping the country afloat financially.
Potosí may have been the richest jewel in the Spanish conquistadors' crown once, but these days, most of the mines are owned by local cooperatives. See that big red mound over there overlooking the city? That's the main mining center, and it's known as Cerro Rico, or Rich Hill. Inside, there's over 5,000 entrances to various mine cooperatives, of which 400 are still in operation today.
These co-ops sadly provide little benefit to the miners. Their average working lifespan is just 10 to 15 years. I'm here in the miners' market with experienced miner Miguel.
There's two people we need to get gifts for. First, the miners for showing us into their world, and secondly, the gods for taking care of us while we're in there. I'm not one to play with fate. He says come to the market, I'm coming to the market.
Y vamos a comprar las hojas de coca, el alcohol y los cigarrillos para la mina.
Which part of that is for the gods? It sounds like it's all for the miners.
What does it taste like?
¿Está bueno?
Not really much flavor to it at first, and then it hits you like a coca leaf, doesn't it? Oh, there it goes. Ooh. It's pungent.
El alcohol es para dar una pequeña ofrenda al tío. Alcohol 96 grados. Buen gusto.
96% proof. That's quite strong. Sounds like these are all great gifts. They're bound to be happy with us, or at least happy with themselves at this point.
Miguel works for the Pailaviri Cooperative, and this is Mina Real Socayon.
Life's an adventure. No la cabeza. Esta localidad también tiene el poteo desde la época de la colonia.
Wow, so from the 1500s this was here.
De 1500 adelante, ¿no? Es una mina colonial.
That was built to last. It's pretty wild.
Vamos.
I guess they were pretty short back in the 1500s, huh? Oh, this is scary.
Estoy.
This how you guys joke around, or?
Tío Jorge.
Oh, this is the Tio. This is one of the gods.
Auto is yours.
Whoa, what is this?
Viagra le puse, ¿eh?
Oh, he's got a penne.
Pene.
That's what he was hiding under all that confetti.
Que no pase ningún accidente en la mina.
Now he's happy.
¿Está bien, Zay, o no?
See? So does everyone in Potosí want to become a miner?
Claro, porque en Potosí no hay otra fuente de trabajo. Yo comencé a trabajar desde mis 14 años, pero mucha gente también comienza desde esa edad.
This is a serious career, isn't it? You start early and you go long. What age do people retire?
Depende, porque muchos trabajan como perforistas, se enferman con la enfermedad del silicosis. Es una enfermedad que ataca los pulmones, que es una enfermedad que no tiene cura, igual que el SIDA. Entonces el minero 40, 45.
To our safety, Uncle Theo George. Ooh, that is 95% proof. Sorry, 95 proof.
Fuerte.
Whew. Tell you what, if anything does happen to us, we are not going to feel it. All this time I thought when you enter the mountain, you're working. You guys are out here partying with Uncle George. I gotta get out of here, it's so smoky.
It's now time to get serious.
Ow.
Finding minerals these days means going deeper into the mountain. And with each new exploration, the work gets more dangerous.
I need a rest, hold on. This is like such a hard way to make a living.
Thankfully, it's another coca break.
La coca es muy importante en la mina.
Sí, pero ¿por qué?
Esto nos ayuda a perder el apetito, nos da más voluntad de trabajo.
¿Y alcohol?
Perder el miedo. El alcohol es para darnos valor y fuerza para la perforación.
Okay, I have no idea what's going on. Miguel, he says we have 20 minutes before the dynamite explodes. What dynamite? We haven't even talked about dynamite. This is actually very scary.
Miguel's team has been looking for a vein for the last 2 years, and they hope that this time they've hit the jackpot. But this is dangerous work for just $30 a day.
It's so claustrophobic. I got really scared. I said, I'm out of here. It's not worth it.
Buen día.
As if this isn't crazy enough, now we're gonna explode. We're gonna explode. I gotta get out of here.
¿Está bien?
Okay.
¿Está bien aquí? A ver.
This is great. I don't like this.
¿Cuántos son? ¿Cuántos? 12 disparos. Música de los mineros.
This is the music of the More? That's it.
Terminar el terremoto.
All right. You thought you were tough?
Es algo, lleva nomás.
You thought you were tough growing up? Try mining. This is tough. My God. I'm out. Oh, we made it out. It's beyond my comprehension. It's not what I'm born to do, but these guys are doing it. Mad respect.
After toiling in the mines yesterday, I'm hoping to grab a ride out of town on a freight train carrying the miners' spoils.
The thing about freight trains is they don't operate on a set schedule. They leave when they're ready. And yesterday I was told that there'd be one leaving at 9 a.m., so here I am. But turns out they were ready at 3 a.m., so they left. But I'm in luck because there's another one coming in 2 hours. As you can see, there's still a lot of cargo to be moved, which means the miners did really well yesterday. I like to think, since I was there, I played a little hand in that. Maybe. Buenos dias. Is zinc?
Sir.
Yeah, so it's processed zinc. That's pretty cool. We get to see what we're carrying.
Two hours has turned into 4. Finally, the locomotive has arrived.
All right, this is it. The moment I've been waiting for.
I leave Potosí, staying at an altitude of around 4,000 meters for the whole journey to my next stop, Uyuni.
By road, it takes 3 hours to drive from Potosí to Uyuni. But by freight train, it takes 12 hours, and there's no seat.
Drivers Juan and Renee seem to be sorted, though. I guess it's not often they carry passengers. This locomotive is a Mitsubishi, with additional turbo engines especially designed for high altitudes like this due to its extra power.
Has anything crazy ever happened, or is it always a smooth ride for you guys?
En todo este sector, generalmente los descargamientos son comunes. He sufrido 2 accidentes con un vuelco de locomotora.
And how did that happen?
Antes del vuelco hubo un descargamiento y por seguimiento de terraplén se ocasionó el vuelco de la locomotora.
Sounds like I've jinxed my journey.
So apparently there's been a derailment up on this next line, so they're stopping here, dropping off the freight, the cargo, and then they're heading back. Where does that leave me? Well, we've only gone about 3.5 hours, so I'm gonna have to find another way. This is Agua Castilla.
Apparently, it's going to take a few days to clear the rail track, so instead, I've had to take an unexpected ride down Yama Highway to get to Uyuni. Now this is definitely better than being on that freight train. Uyuni holds more than its dusty streets belie. Out-of-use train tracks connect the town to a train cemetery on the outskirts of town.
Trains here have become collateral damage ever since Bolivia's mineral boom collapsed. There were fewer and fewer of them still in action, and many of them were just abandoned where they sat.
Uyuni was once a major transport hub for the freight trains traveling from Bolivia's mines to the Chilean port of Antofagasta. By the 19th century, nearby Pulicayo was the most productive silver mine in Bolivia and the second largest in the world. Now, it sits in ruins just outside Uyuni. Local guide Archie tells me why it's still such an important place in Bolivia's railway history.
Anissa Tuarse, he was one of the presidents, the 27th president here. So here, for example, this is one of these houses here behind us.
This was his house alone?
It was, but he was very good visionary. So all the thanks to him was the first train railway here.
Really, he brought in the first railway system to Bolivia?
That's right, that's right.
To export the silver?
That was the first goal. That was the first intention for him, only to transport from this area, from the Lipes to the Pacific Ocean through Chile.
This was the start of Bolivia's Industrial Revolution.
So here is the very first train of Bolivia. Chiripa is the name.
This is it?
Yeah.
The original?
The original, please.
What does chiripa mean?
Chiripa means lucky. Lucky is the name of this one. It looks very tiny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really small.
Yeah.
It's in really good condition.
It is.
Does it still work?
Yeah. It needs only a little bit of oil, coal, fire, and roll on.
The main ingredients
to
make it work.
Is that.
Can I hop inside?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I mean, he would have to be seated down, wouldn't he? There's no way he could stand. And he's riding this all the way to the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, the very first train of that arrived to Bolivia.
One form of mining still happens around here, and it promises to be Bolivia's springboard back into world markets. It's here, on the edge of the Atacama Desert, on Uyuni's famous salt lake.
Straddling the border of Bolivia and Chile, the Atacama Desert is second only to Antarctica as the driest place on Earth, which is hard to believe because at the moment it's the rainy season and this salt flat is coated in water. But wet or dry, this area is an incredible source of wealth.
The Salar de Uyuni has the world's largest area of lithium reserves and could be worth over $1 trillion. Lithium is the world's new supermineral. It is used to give life to things like smartphones and electric cars, and its importance is about to fly off the charts. Bolivia may be making giant leaps in exploiting new natural resources, but the next step is transporting it. As always, that starts and ends with the railways, and they're not exactly convenient. Back in town, trains don't run every day, and when they do, they leave in the middle of the night. It's 2 a.m., and this is my ride out of here.
Guess this is it here. Like that, I gotta cross the train tracks to get to the other train.
Everybody's sleeping or trying to go to sleep already, which I don't blame them. I think I'm gonna join them. These are pretty comfy seats. Been a long 7 hours, I think. Hopefully I sleep through most of it.
That was a bit optimistic.
All right, looks like it's gonna be a full house. Got another guy joining me right where my knees were. Yeah.
6 hours later, I'm still on the train, still traveling towards the city of La Paz.
Morning. Not so bad here, actually. Once you accept it and get used to it, I slept most of the time, but I woke up about 6 times in the middle of the night. Got up at one point, most recently, to go stretch and walk about. I came back ready to sleep hard in my seat. I don't know how that happened, but I'm not gonna wake her, so these guys said I could sit with them. Scenery is magnificent. It's a beautiful way to wake up. Really loving it. Very green, cows, broken down little adobe huts. It's cool. Once again, I'm nowhere near the major city I'm trying to get to. Like so many places in this country. I'm trying to get to La Paz, which used to be the major capital of this place. It had trains running in it all the way from Argentina, Buenos Aires. And today, you can't even get to it by train within its own country.
I'm forced to hit the road for the 3rd time this trip. It's time for a real bus.
Cochabamba. Looking for La Paz. La Paz? All right, found it. ¿Cuántos? 25. So 25 Bolivianos, about almost $5 US. For a 3-hour ride, not bad.
Pasillo?
Window.
Ventana?
Yeah. Ventana. Window. Yeah, why not? Let's see this place. Gracias.
Ya, está bien.
If there's one thing I love, it's that lady's hat.
La Paz sits at an altitude of 3,600 meters and is a city you just need to get lost in. With over 1 million inhabitants, it's the 2nd largest city in Bolivia, and around every corner is the unexpected.
So this is just a normal day here in La Paz. I'm passing through and hear this great music, try to find out what it is. They're rehearsing for this big festival coming up in a month from now. If this is the rehearsal, I'd hate to see the actual thing. It's gonna be crazy.
It is said that these popular bowler hats, worn only by the women here in La Paz, were brought over by the British railway engineers, lured here by the promise of mineral wealth and a desperate need for railways. Trains ran in and out of La Paz until 1995, but it was a struggle all the way. La Paz's train station hasn't seen any action since. The altitude and the topography eventually proved too much, as Marcelo, a train enthusiast, knows well.
Well, when the English came in 1913 to build our railways,
Well, they brought a special train from America, an American electric train that they use for these steep areas. And then they brought the steam train, more energy efficient, powerful as well. So then that was when the train was, I think, the most popular in the 40s, 50s. Actually, when people from La Paz would get actually to the coast of Chile, see the sea.
They could go to the beach from here on that steam train.
Yeah, go to enjoy the beach there.
This was the Ferrocarril Arica-La Paz, the railway running from here all the way to the Pacific coast, and more importantly, the port of Arica.
Around the late 90s, that's when the dream ended. That's when they privatized everything and they had to close down the train station. They left the trains. No one took care of anything.
So that was it? That's the end of trains here, you think?
Well, there is still a strong union from the ex-workers, from the trains here in Bolivia. And they're not giving up the dream of having a new train. It's a main artery here for La Paz, for commerce, to export things, import things. They don't want to give up the dream of having a new train here in La Paz.
When La Paz's impressive train station was built, it had big plans. Over 200 trains were going to run in and out each day. But as it turns out, even at its peak, only 2 trains ever did.
Since 1999, the Bolivian government has announced several plans to construct a new railway between La Paz and El Alto. Instead, they've decided to take to the sky. This cable car system will have a capacity to transport 3,000 people per hour and is costing Bolivia $235 million. La Paz sits at the bottom of a geographical bowl and will connect to El Alto at the top via 3 cable car lines that stretch 10 kilometers. This will be the longest urban cable car network in the world. It's such an important progression for the city that the country's president, Evo Morales, has put in an appearance today. Sounds like he's excited to be the guinea pig. Soon, it won't just be the altitude of 3,600 meters that gives La Paz the nickname, the city that touches the clouds.
This is the one railway line still operational in the area. It links Bolivia to the Pacific coast of Chile, and more importantly, it gives it access to the sea for its exports.
Amazingly, this is still known as the Ferrocarril Arica-La Paz, though needless to say, it doesn't start in La Paz anymore. These days, you have to pick up the train from here in Viacha, 22 kilometers outside the city.
Yep, it's another bus train. Can't say as I'm not riding in style. This is a Mercedes-Benz. Pretty cool how they do this. I'm amongst good company. How are you doing, ladies? Looking lovely? Top of the morning to you.
Historian Esther Ayan is joining me for this journey and explains the historic relationship between Bolivia and its railways.
When I was 20, say 30 years ago.
900 years ago when I was 20.
I went to Charaña when it was a long train.
You experienced the real train?
Yes, I experienced that.
The border town of Charaña sits at the halfway point of this final 440-kilometer-long railway, cutting across some of Bolivia and Chile's most inhospitable terrain before reaching Arica. Built to connect La Paz to the port of Arica, this line is vital to the future of Bolivia.
There's a big project to link the Atlantic with the Pacific. To link east with west by railroad.
Yeah.
And second,
completely cut across the continent.
yes.
From Brazil all the way to Chile.
Yes.
This very track is going to be very important, isn't it, to Arica?
Very important because Arica is the main port to Bolivia, but it has this problem with Chile.
Land disputes between Bolivia and Chile mean that no train crosses the border anymore. Just as in the east, Bolivia had to negotiate a deal for access to the coast. They lost their land, but in exchange, Chile had to build the railway at a cost of around $4.5 million.
Chile builds and it has to run all the time. The railroad, which does happen. There have been always, in hundreds of years, many reclaims from Bolivia that it's not going the train.
Uh-oh, somebody's not holding up their end of the bargain.
Bolivia is proving a point to Chile by having a train run on their side, even if it is just twice a week.
Oh. Woo! That was a bumpy ride, just jiggly like this. 7 hours. Rocked me right to sleep, and then rocked me right awake.
On the Chilean side, passenger trains no longer exist, and freight trains stopped service in 2005. Until now.
Well, it's official. I filled out all my paperwork, got my stamps in my passport, and now I'm in Chile.
And I'm ready for the next and final train.
In retaliation to Bolivia's claims that Chile's not keeping up their end of the treaty, Chile now operates a monthly freight service between the border and Arica, even if just to show that it's still operational. And this is it.
It may be operational now, if only for Chilean freight trains carrying maintenance materials, but this railway is notorious for its complications. Matthias works on this railway and knows just how tough it is.
Thank you very much.
This final train takes me down the perilous descent from an altitude of 4,000 meters to reach the Pacific coast and the port of Arica.
What were some of the difficulties in building this railroad?
Mucha gente trabajó acá y mucha gente perdió la vida también. En ese tiempo la seguridad no era la misma que tenemos ahora. Tiene una gran pendiente, una de las pendientes más altas del mundo. Tiene 6 grados. Las máquinas tienen que tener un sistema especial. No cualquier máquina ni cualquier operador trabaja en este ferrocarril. Y es duro principalmente por la altura, la falta de oxígeno.
Altitude sickness can be dangerous and can affect people once they reach 3,000 meters above sea level. And here at 4,000 meters, it has hit me hard.
Right now I feel like I've got the biggest gas pain. It's making me nauseous, a little lightheaded, sweaty. So Matthias has suggested I take some oxygen. There's like ice picks stabbing at my stomach wall.
The intake of this oxygen makes my body think it's actually at a lower, more oxygen-rich altitude.
It's like the pain in my stomach.
Is it cold?
Yeah.
We recommend only water.
Only water. Nice of you guys to tell me no.
Sorry.
Do you guys use this as well?
No, nosotros tenemos exámenes de altura para trabajar en este ferrocarril. Las empresas nos exigen tener una condición física y una capacidad pulmonar y eso nos permite trabajar acá sin mayores problemas.
Oh, I feel sweaty still.
Altitude sickness can bring on anything from a mild headache to the more acute high-altitude cerebral edema, or water on the brain. Descending to a lower altitude is important to reduce these symptoms, but for me, I've got to lie down. Maintenance of this railway is important to Chile. The very purpose of this freight train is to deliver construction materials.
Despite the fact that I've been lightheaded laying down oxygen masks on this trip, they said I gotta earn my keep and help carry some of this stuff. Sí, ¿no? Oh, that's heavy. Oh.
Yeah, wait.
Wait. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Jeez, you gotta go through all these. That's so much work. Okay. Okay, put this one low. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Ah, yes. Yes!
This railway was the world's steepest train track at the time of its construction and falls from over 4,200 meters here to sea level. This is the real challenge for driver Jose.
Unlike most trains, this one actually has a really steep descent, doesn't it? How difficult is that for you?
Es muy importante en un ferrocarril de montaña las revisiones del equipo en cuanto zapatas.
What is this red button that you keep hitting?
Ya, el botoncito rojo es un dispositivo de seguridad que lo mantiene despierto al operador de la locomotora. Cuando el maquinista no acciona el botoncito, enciende una luz de advertencia. En fracciones de 8 segundos, acciona una baliza roja.
If the driver still doesn't react, the brakes go on automatically and the train stops. Incredible.
They think of everything.
And I'm very glad they do. With the steepest part coming up right now, the last thing I want is for the driver to fall asleep. Our speed is now just 18 kilometers per hour.
And this is the part of the railway that makes you guys famous for this line, isn't it?
Yes.
Everybody talks about this. I can see why.
This is it.
We're not going very fast, but you can feel gravity pulling you faster, huh?
Yes.
Night falls and the coastline is nowhere in sight. Four hours later, the lights of Arica finally come into view.
Oh, I made it. That one was tough. Beautiful, but tough. I give these guys a lot of credit. It's an enjoyable journey, but it's just tough going up and down those altitudes. Whew, I almost didn't make it. Glad I did. Good to be back on land. Sea level.
Here it is, the Pacific Ocean.
Woo! I made it. I was so excited last night when I reached my final destination. It hit me. I just traveled by train or by whatever would move me by tracks from the Pantanal all the way to the Pacific. I grew up in the middle of this ocean, and I know how important imports and exports are to a country's economy. Out here, the trains are the ships of the land. And while the tracks I rode on may seem outdated and dying, I believe with the proper attention and development, they could still play a vital role in the future here. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna go enjoy the ocean now.